The Colorado Avalanche are back in action tonight against the St. Louis Blues to try to get back in the win column following 2 losses. Will they have to do without Bowen Byram and or Cale Makar for this game? Maybe. We'll talk about that and a lot more in today's episode of Locked On Avalanche.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. There we go. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure to follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on YouTube, over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. And make sure to subscribe to our Subtext. Link to that is in the show notes below. When you do, you chat with Kyle and I one-on-one and become one of our special insiders, and we will get predictions from our Subtext people a little bit later. Want to thank Coach Beard and Batman for holding down the fort yesterday. I thought they did an okay job.
Yeah, that Batman guy's coming for my job.
I know, yeah. I mean, and who am I to say no?
He's got star power.
I mean, come on now. Throw me in, what's the prison?
Oh, Arkham.
Arkham, yeah, throw me in Arkham if I say no. I don't want to spend time there. All right, let's jump into some stuff here, Kyle, because it was kind of a busy day for an off day for the Avs. And like we said, following the game against Buffalo, where Cale Makar slammed into the boards, we all know what happened. He came back, but we were saying, a lot of people were saying, like, okay, like it's good that he came back, but now we have a couple days off, and do things start tightening up? Seems like they might have, because not only was he not at practice on Tuesday, neither was Bowen Byram. And I don't know what's up with that. And Jared Bednar did, press conference after practice, and his comment was kind of odd. He was like, they're both hurting a little bit. He goes, but I expect at least one of them to play, is the quote. To which I'm like, Jared, like, I love Bowen Byram, but that's a big, at least one of them. We need to know which one, because it's kind of a big deal if it's Cale Makar or Bowen Byram who can't go. So either way, like, they're both hurting. We know why Cale Makar is hurting. Don't really know why Bowen Byram is. I didn't really see anything, but go ahead.
Yeah, especially with Bowen Byram and his injury history, when nothing happens and then his absence on the practice ice, you're already conspiracy theory. So you're very just piecing things together. And then for Bednar to say at least one of them, the positive spin on this, you're like, so you're telling me there's a chance. And then then you're like, who?
Yeah,
there's one player that we all, as a collective body of Avalanche fans, saw one run into the boards, and boy, we'd love to see him back. He came back to the game, and we talked on yesterday's episode in the leftovers, like, he logged the most minutes on the team.
Yeah.
So maybe him, but he said at minimum, so we could get both. And then we're losing sleep over nothing, and I could pluck the gray hair from my beard. But you're after what you saw with Cale Makar hitting the boards, it's a concern, and especially with how slow he got up. Everybody's automatically thinking the leg, but Cale also has a little bit of concussion history. So with him getting up slow and going in and out of the locker room on the bench, maybe that's going on there. And with Cale and Bo both fighting something, we're in midseason form, baby.
It could be anything for Cale Makar. The way that he went into the boards, you're right. It could be anything from the head down to the ankle. And that, I mean, you would have to think it's Cale Makar that he's talking about might be out, right? You would have to think that. The way that happened, you saw it. It was right in front of your face. You saw it. The Bowen Byram might just be he tweaked something. and just needed a couple days. So you would have to think that comment about at least one of them will play. You would have to think that is Bowen Byram. We will see, but I kind of want to know if it is Cale. Can we get that day to day, week to week? Like, how long will he be out for? Just a game to give him some time. Clearly, we don't know, and if it is him, we should get that eventually. But I just the way that it went down, what you saw and what you didn't see between Cale Makar and Bowen Byram, you would have to think Makar. If one of those is going to miss time, it's going to be him. We'll see.
And you bring up something interesting. Like, what if it's Cale that comes back to play, and it's Bo's that's the one missing?
Then it's weird.
Then you're really scratching your head on, because if it's one of the Cale or Bo that comes back, there's going to be serious concerns and question marks around the health of the one who's not. So it's definitely something you're going to want to be circling and keeping an eye on going into this game tonight. Maybe it's both, and maybe it's neither. So it's very concerning.
Because we know the why with Makar. We don't know the why with Bo. They did make a couple roster changes. Riley Tufte gets brought up. So does Caleb Jones. And very interesting line combinations while at practice. Evan Rawl put these up on X. I don't know if I should I just want to say Twitter X all the time.
No, keep saying X, and I'll keep doing the Wolverine.
I know, man. I don't know. Anyway,
X3 movie poster
on that social media that's drowning. It's so these were the lines: Lehkonen, McKinnon, and Rantanen. Okay, you had Tufte on the second line with Ryan Johansson and Val Nichushkin. You had Miles Wood, Ross Colton, and Logan O'Connor gets bumped up to the third line. And then your fourth line was a collection of players: Jonathan Drouin, Andrew Cogliano, Tomas Tatar, Frederick Olofsson, Curtis McDermott. We're all on, taking turns in the fourth line. If that holds true, that's a big shakeup. You have now, not only is Riley Tufte in action, he's on the second line. And look at that line, dude. Riley Tufte, Ryan Johansson, Val Nichushkin. Those are redwood trees on that second line. That's going to be I like it. Maybe not forever, but I want to see what that line does. I mean, I think the average height there has got to be 6'9" or something like that. Those guys are tall. I love it. I just want to get this in too. Jonathan Drouin has gone from starting the season on the first line, and if this holds true, he's playing this game on the fourth line. Things are not going well in Jonathan Drouin world.
Stop me if you've heard this story before on the Colorado Avalanche. This feels very new Hookie.
Sure.
It has a lot of new hook. It has a very new Hookie feel to it. So that's an interesting little wrinkle to keep an eye on throughout the game.
Go ahead.
And that second line, when you're reading you have Ryan Johansson, the veteran, and you have Nichushkin. He's got some veteran, but he's kind of like that middle of the road guy. You got Tufte really trying to make a name for himself. He has one career goal. That could be some magic in that second line.
I like it. I really hope it holds true for tonight, because that would be fun. And Tatar is on for this practice, was on the fourth line, and he's another guy who's gone from the third line, who that third line was doing very well between Wood, Colton, and him. You had the Drouin stuff, so he got bumped up to the top line. Seemed like he was doing pretty well up there, but now he's being dropped down to the fourth line. I don't know how much of that is just trying things out, because I don't think Tomas Tatar has really done anything horribly wrong to be demoted that far into the fourth line. I think it's just putting him there which is odd, because you could argue our best line so far this year has been that fourth line of Cogliano, O'Connor, and Olofsson. So to break that up is a little bit, I don't know, but you're, bringing O'Connor up. He's been playing very well. And maybe just putting that fourth line of Drouin, Cogliano, and Tatar. But then what do you do with Olofsson?
You know,
I don't know, man. Like that.
I like Tatar and Cogliano together. I really want to see what you can make with that. And honestly, if that's where you're going to put Drouin, that might work. Like you have some stalwart vets right there, and then you have Drouin. You're going to learn something with Tatar and Cogliano. Hearing those lines, all the extras. Let's not even talk about McDermott right now. Like that was just cute. He's clocking in, clocking out.
Yeah.
But those lines, I really am excited to see what especially coming off 2 shutouts. This team is kind of mad. They're back home. I'm really excited what you could get from these lines.
I don't like like you just said, like I want to see what they can do because I like the players the Avalanche have on this roster. Yeah. And I think what Jared Bednar is doing is just trying to figure out where it works well. He probably didn't want to break up that fourth line, but the other lines aren't really doing what they're supposed to be doing the past couple games. So you have to break it up to try to catch lightning in a bottle and just shake things up. I get it. So yeah, I think Wood, Colton, and O'Connor, those guys are going to be workhorses.
Yeah,
that's going to be a tough line to play against. The Tufte, Johansson, and Nichushkin, that's going to be a tough line to play against. And obviously you have Lehkonen and McKay. Like, so you like on paper what these lines look like. Just got to turn around on the ice. You can only do so much on paper, but you got to do, you got to just come through when the game starts. And then we'll see with Caleb Jones. He probably will be on a third pairing. We'll see with who. I mean, you would say Jack Johnson. That's not who I would love to put him with, but hey, we'll see how that goes too. And maybe he doesn't even play. Maybe McDermott goes down to the third pairing as well on defense, even though they said they weren't going to do that this year. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see. We got changes already, and I think they're necessary because you got shut out 2 games in a row. Changes are going to happen. We'll also see what happens in goal. I would think Georgiev gets a mental break. I don't think he's tired at all. I think maybe he gets a mental break right now because Vegas is waiting, right? Isn't that the next game?
You get St. Louis tonight, and then you have Vegas coming up on Saturday.
All right. Keys to the game. We will bring that up. Some very basic ones, and also some interesting ones too. So we will get to that next. We have Indeed today, and when you are drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you could do the same thing with your business team? If you're building a roster to win the league, then you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. And don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. And if you hate waiting, then Indeed's US data shows that over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match their job description the moment that they sponsor a job. And Indeed knows that when you're doing everything for your company, you can't afford to overspend on hiring. So visit Indeed.com/locked-on to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/locked-on, Indeed.com/locked-on. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. If you need to hire, then you need Indeed. Thank you again for everybody for making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. I want to say that as many times as possible. And tomorrow, a former Av has hung up the skates, Kyle Sullivan. And this one, it's weird. Like, what do you think? Why am I blanking on his name right now? I can't,
Paul
Stastny? Paul Stastny. Jeez, I'm thinking of the dad. Paul Stastny. Yeah, calls it a career. And we'll get into it tomorrow, but I just couldn't find a team to latch on with. So he said, "Hey, I've been in the league for I think 17 years, so enough's enough." So we'll get into that tomorrow. So definitely tune in tomorrow when we talk about the great career of Paul Stastny, not Peter Stastny, although he was great too. All right, so let's get into some keys of the game for tonight's game against Buffalo. If you're watching over on YouTube, there they are. Number one, can't put it any simpler than that. One word: score. You gotta score some goals here. Enough is enough. Get back to doing what you do well. Maybe it's a good opponent to have right now when you're in a little bit of a funk and a scoring drought. Because I'll jump down to number 3 here. The St. Louis Blues, they give up goals, but they don't score them either. The only team with fewer goals in the league than St. Louis is San Jose. So that doesn't really count. So you could say St. Louis has the fewest goals scored when San Jose is just a dumpster fire right now. And then going into the middle one, you have to stop turning the puck over. The Avalanche and their puck possession has been pretty atrocious, especially in the defensive zone. They are turning the puck over left and right, giving the opposition multiple golden opportunities, which is why a lot of this is not on Georgiev.
Yeah.
So those are the 3 things we got: score, don't turn the puck over in the defensive zone, and defensive pressure, because they can't score goals.
And that number 1 key to the game, a wise man once said, the one who has the most goals at the end of the game wins. And I think that's something the Avalanche have forgotten. We just talked in that first segment about how fun it is to put these lines together on paper and dream about the potential. It's really hard to not score. The Avalanche has done it twice in the last 2 games with these lines. Back at home against division rival, the scoring you don't need to just get one. You need to pour it on. You need to go for revenge. And honestly, where the Blues are sitting, they're 3-1 at time of recording. They have a weird, they'll win a game and lose 6-4 to Arizona. They're a very odd team. And like Chris mentioned, they're not really good at scoring. So this is pumped and primed for the Avalanche to come back and go roaring into that Vegas game. But they have to get the first one. If you get one, you're doing better than the last 2 games, and you build on that.
No, I love what you say there about, this can't be a 1-0.
Yeah, and while you froze up just for a little bit, it would make it even sweeter if this is a Jordan Binnington
game
goalie situation where you don't just get the one, you get it on him, and then he gets emotional, and then the crowd gets into it, and then it just becomes like a whole vibe. That's what the Avalanche really need right now. They need to get back into believing, because Katie Goss, she was interviewing Mikko Rantanen, and you could hear the frustration, and we all can't score at the same time, and it's frustrating. You could hear Mikko talking about how it's just aggravating that they can't figure it out. This is about a year and a half removed from a cup. They know what to do. This is the perfect situation for them to all figure it out together against somebody we love to score on.
Yeah. What I was saying before it froze was, I agree with you. Like, you don't want a 1-0 game. I don't think it'll be a 1-0 game, especially if Georgiev is not playing. And you would think Prosvetov is going to be in there. We don't know what the heck we're going to get from him. Yeah. So not only do you, if he is the starting goalie, you got to give him, pad this score here. So he's not responsible for winning this game for you. You can't put that on him right now if he is starting, obviously. Even if it's Georgiev, you want to give that guy a break. Play better in front of him. And that's why I put stop turning the puck over. But yeah, you want to hang. Why not hang 5 on them? Why not hang 6 on them? Because they give that much up. And if they're going to give it to you, the Avalanche are a team that can take it. And, they have to be angry. They have to be angry. They haven't played well the last couple of games. This is a team that is an offensive powerhouse. And you've been shut out twice. You want, and even though if you do go score 5 and 6, people will be like, it's the Blues. Yeah. And I get that part of it. But mentally, it just gets you back into, because, it's the Blues, but it's Jordan Binnington, who is, I know we love to rag on the guy. He's a decent goalie. So it's fun to see him melt down, which I would love to happen tonight. And the way that they do that is to hang a 5 spot or 6 spot on him. So I think the Avs just get back on track. They're too good to have, multiple games, 3, 4, 5 games in a row like that, where they're not scoring at least. But man, if this is one of those games that start and like in the first like 2 shifts of the game, St. Louis gets a goal, this is where not on the ice, the players just get back to work. But from the fan base perspective, it's like you throw your hands up and like, come on, guys. What is going on? You don't want that.
No, the first goal of this game needs to be a power play. You want to talk about a collective sigh of relief from everyone wearing burgundy and blue? If you not only just get one on the board, but it's a power play, 2 birds, 1 stone, the Avalanche are back.
They need power. I hate to say like you got to get all this stuff back in one game, but it would be nice. This is the perfect opponent to right the ship in many fronts. Just scoring goals is one of them. Power play goals is another one. And then the keys of the game that we have there. So we'll see how this thing goes. But I am feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about how this game will go. How the Subtext people are feeling, we will get to that next, sir. We are going to hear from Sleeper. Kyle, is there a better app out there for daily fantasy sports than Sleeper?
Not a single one. I promise you that.
A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Could Cale Makar get 100 points? Could Mikko Rantanen get 60 goals? Could the Colorado Avalanche hoist the Stanley Cup yet again? And you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. And Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. Who we liking for this game, Kyle, and against St. Louis? I know we mentioned it the other day, but has it changed at all?
No, I'm feeling Miles Wood. And you know what? To piggyback on that one, let's say Ryan Johansson. Throw him on there on the power play.
If that second line holds true, play that whole second line.
Oh, yeah.
Why not? That's going to be fun. All you have to do is pick whether studs like Cale Makar, who's not going to be there, we think, or Nathan McKinnon will record more or less than their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. And to win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. And you can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That code is LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper terms of use for details and locational availability.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
All right. So predictions for tonight, sir. What are you thinking? What's the final score here? Who do you think's going to get on the board? What's your vibe for this game?
Every time I say this, everybody is quick to jump on me in YouTube comments, but this has a 8-2 feeling.
Whoa, 8 goals. You're predicting 8 goals. Holy.
St. Louis Blues division game, Ball Arena, a very angry Colorado Avalanche team that already is getting this whiff flying by their ear of this injury bug. Mm-hmm. And last year starting to creep back in a little bit. And this team is built to not replicate last year. They're mad. They're angry. And they want to stop this. Back-to-back shutouts. It's embarrassing. They want to get things right against St. Louis.
I think the going back home is big right now.
Yeah.
You need it. You haven't played a lot of games at home. You got 8 games and you've played 2 at home. So getting back there, and we've talked about how going on the road is sometimes good for you. Sometimes it's too much. And right now it's been a lot for the Avs. So I think going home, feeding off of that fan base. I feel good about this one. I can't predict 8 goals. That's tough too. I love it. But I can't go there. Do I think they could hang 5 on them? I said it before. Yeah, definitely. I'm thinking like a 5-1 game here for that same reason, because they're angry, because they got shut out twice, and they don't want to just score 1 or 2 and just say like, okay, well, we broke that. We can at least say we scored a couple goals. They want to get on the board early, often, and then have this thing be no doubt about it when you start the third. And maybe it's 5-0 to start the third. That's what I would love. And then you give one up because you just took the foot off the brake a little bit. So that's what I'm going with. Over on Subtext, Madam Battleaxe says, good afternoon, gents. My score prediction will be 3-1 Avs. They're at home, hoping that the last 2 games of frustration will come out and they will start righting the ship. She's looking at Nichushkin. Want him to start doing what he does. She feels like he's been a little bit too silent and he needs to wake up. Maybe on the stat sheet, not a little bit, but Nichushkin's playing fine.
He's a trick. Watch yesterday's episode. He's a trick.
You watched that one? Yeah. I do believe this will be a great game for many reasons, but I know the Avs will do this one right. Happy Halloween. And she was the one who hands out tequila shots. So she says she has 2 shots waiting for us.
I'll be there.
Or is it us or is it Coach Beard and Batman? I don't know.
I'll take it on behalf of Batman.
You'll accept that award on behalf of Batman. Easton says 4-2 Avs, and he predicts goals come from 4 different people. Colton, Nuke, Mac, and Mikko. So a couple from the top line. Again, if those lines hold true. A couple from the top line, 1 from the second line, 1 from the third line, which would be great. Get everybody involved here. What do you? I mean, Ross Colton's he's been doing okay, but you want to see that's a guy. I don't feel like yesterday you could have listed him as like, a trick, but he I think he could. This is a game that he could really kind of set the tone for his line.
He's neither trick nor treat. He is a double bubble where you're like, okay, this is fine.
He's a good and plenty.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, okay, sure.
Oh, you hand those out. Vargar 4-3 Avs. I think Colorado has big push to start the game, maybe 3-0 after the first. Would love that. And then the Blues come back, but the Avs win it in overtime. He says this thing's going to OT. Looking for a sloppy game with a lot of penalties. God, I hope not. I mean, but yes, penalty kill's been great. I think Mikko is the first star with a couple of goals. It's just so hard to predict because they just called up Jones, like we said, and that makes me wonder if Makar is playing. Yeah, man. Even without Makar, you really should be handling the Blues, even without him. No, you're looking skyward.
I am with the Caleb Jones. If you're losing Cale, would you not bring in somebody with a little bit more experience with the Avalanche system?
Not necessarily. I mean, why? Like, what's
when I was hearing that, when Vargar was talking about bringing up Caleb Jones, this doesn't really feel like somebody you would bring up to replace what you're losing in a Cale Makar. Like, if this is a Bowen Byram,
you can't do that.
Yeah, like, even if you're shifting up, why is Caleb the one you're bringing up?
I mean, you traded for him for a reason. I think he's got a future here. I really think he does. And you're gonna start him on the third pairing. Let's get real here, right? But no, like, you can't replace Cale Makar. It wouldn't matter who you.
Yeah,
he's not taking his place.
No,
right?
He's not going automatically first pairing.
No. But even bumping everybody up, whether that is Sam Girard or maybe it is Bowen Byram, we don't know. If Bo doesn't play, it's probably going to be Sam Girard. You got Sam Girard and Devon Toews as your top pairing, right? Who am I missing here? I don't think it's gonna be Manson. You don't really have a lot of choices for defense. You got Curtis McDermott, but he's not going to be on that top. Like, that's what happens when you lose a guy like Cale Makar. So if you lose Cale Makar and Bowen Byram, I mean, you have no choice. Like, Caleb Jones is playing. He's going to be on that third pairing, and he's got to get some work in sooner or later. He played a ton for the Blackhawks in an elevated role, which he shouldn't have been playing. So, getting him back to where he should be on a third pairing, especially on this Avs team, I kind of like it. I like it.
It's interesting. It just got me thinking, like, who is Caleb learning from, and where is he going in these pairings?
Right now it's third, and we'll see how he does. But I want to know who he's playing with because I just don't like him with Jack Johnson. I'd much rather with like Josh Manson. As poor as Manson's playing, I'd much rather him with Josh Manson.
I feel like JJ would just be like, "Look how fast I can skate.
Watch these slick deke moves that I have that I did in the preseason.
Look what I learned.
I'm going to show you my mixtape." All right, that is going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. We will be back tomorrow. We'll break this whole thing down. Hopefully, it goes the way of the Avs. So until tomorrow, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.